Paper Mario was one game that most people probably thought would be stupid. With a name like Paper Mario, what can you expect? But whatever the expectations were, they were easily met. Now here comes a sequel with much greater expectations. The question is, does it live up? Now you will notice that the controls are very similar to that of the original, but it's smoother and there's more to the controls. Outside of battles, you now have paper abilities, and during battles, you now perform in front of audiences. This provides for some interesting scenarios, such as an audience member throwing stuff at you, good or bad. You will also learn things such as stylish moves, which get the crowd going. Every once in a while you will spot Luigi, which is pretty cool. Let's go back to the gameplay though. Flawless controls, no awkward movements with the enemies. So controls and the action part of it would be a 5. Let's get a little deeper though. Now we are looking at puzzles, and while not hard for the average gamer, or I hope not, compare it to the more action-based shooting and whatnot you find in games like Halo 3, they can be interesting, and possibly even challenging. There's also platforming elements that, even though they're not as important as in any of the bigger Mario games, they still play a big role, and Nintendo does a good job of making it fit in with the game. For gameplay, a 5 out of 5. If you don't like the graphic style of the game because they don't fit your taste, that's fine, but you at least have to admit, there's a lot going on here. Even the first Paper Mario's graphics has aged pretty well compared to other Nintendo 64 titles. But the Thousand Year Door is like that, only on steroids. The music, on the other hand, is not comparable to, let's say, Super Mario 64 or anything like that, but it still has tunes that can get stuck in your head every once in a while. There are also tons of audio references to previous games, such as Super Mario World, for example. When you combine the new and the old music with the graphics, they add an overall appeal that is tough to be matched by quite a lot of games of its time. A 5 out of 5. If you want the short description, I still play it today. If you want the long description, this game is an absolute classic. There's just some sort of quality about this game that makes it fun even after you beat it. This is one of Nintendo's ways of saying thank you to the hardcore fans out there, and I'm not afraid to compare this to some of the bigger, more popular games out there. Does that mean that's necessarily better? Not really. But if you're someone who plays it and enjoys it, chances are you'll put it up there with them. Why will this never be marked as a timeless classic is because it's unique. It's harder to mark this as a classic because chances are people don't want to take the risk to even play it. Therefore, they pass. But anyone who's played this game knows exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know why it's so appealing, but it's appealing. A 5 out of 5. Now, the overall concept isn't the greatest thing they could come up with, but for a Mario game, it's pretty advanced, and if you look deeper, there's actually some good stuff here. What I mean by that is, you get to know the characters without being bored of them. More personality is given to the characters, and the text, though cheesy at times, is also well written. There are actually some good jokes in the game that will make you laugh. And there are not too many moments where the game has you reading the text too long. But sadly, when this game is making you read too much, you're just pressing A forever. But, again, that doesn't happen too often. And trust me, it's not the worst it could be. When it's bad, it just makes you want to get it over with so you can play. When it's good, it works great. So for story, a 4 out of 5. I would have to say it's easy if you played the first game, but this game is actually so fun that you really don't care about how hard it is. Again, some of the puzzles could be tough to modern gamers, but for its time, it's not that difficult, except for the final boss, which is extremely epic and difficult to defeat. A 4 out of 5.